Man, what a first half. That was incredible. We played with tremendous rhythm. And, I thought it started with our defensive intensity, really did a good job of, trying to keep the game out of transition for them, keep the ball in the half court as much as we could and find some disruption points. And I thought it really fueled our offense, and the ball movement in the first half was incredible. Obviously, we made a ton of shots, which is always good to see. But 17 assists in that first half with only 2 turnovers, and then really to do what we were doing. I mean, I think we had 17 deflections at halftime. So, there was a lot of good activity. The defense was really, really good. I thought we were really locked in, and I thought it stayed like that for the most part. I probably subbed a little bit too early tonight, but it's a situation where I think it's when you can get those minutes for those guys, it's really, really valuable. And, that's more minutes than typically we would have, and I get the nature of college basketball right now to continue to play your guys and run up the score. But I've got a lot of respect for Duger, and I've got a lot of respect for their program. And I also wanted to put our guys in a position to go out there and get some minutes. But we got to understand there's a standard when you go out there. And unfortunately, there was a couple of them I didn't think were ready to play. And, it hurts you. It's when guys aren't out there giving the effort that they need to give. We get. I don't see. I'm not good enough with these books. Is there a second half stat deal on here? Let's see. Second half rebounding 23-12. That's just not good enough. And so we've got. It's hard to play here. Guys have to understand that, and they know that. It's hard to get on this court, and so. I could have waited till the 8-minute mark, and maybe in hindsight I should have, but I think this will be some good film for those guys to be able to see. Everybody thinks it's easy, right? And, everybody thinks that, hey, you watch these guys playing right now, and they're popping this thing around, and they're playing hard, and they're flying around. It's really hard, and, you can't take that for granted. So we'll get good experience out of that. We'll get great film out of that, but can't be more proud of the starters. I mean, all those guys were plus, high pluses, and even in the second half, you look at it, and Conley was +9, Jalen Slauson was +9. All the starters were positive. But we had a couple guys, Tyrese -20 and, Pegues -16 and Joe -15. Those are guys, and then you look at Garrett, he was -5. I mean, those are guys in that top 9. And they've got to take responsibility and understand when you get a lot of minutes like that and you get to go out there and play, like go play. And so be valuable for him. It'll be great. And we'll watch the tape tomorrow. We'll get a lot of positives from it. Alex Hunter, got his rhythm back shooting the ball. That was great. Jalen Slauson continues to shoot the ball at a high clip. He's in the gym all the time now, which is great to see. I thought Mike Bothwell did a great job, just really attacked downhill, did a great job. The dunk in the first half was incredible. And, Conley continues to do the things Conley's doing. I mean, just kind of makes everything go for us a little bit. And I thought Marcus played a complete game. So a lot of positives, a lot of things that we can build on. But, we'll tie this one up tonight, and then we'll have to quickly move on to Greensboro tomorrow.
From the last, it's 5 straight wins by more than 15 points. But like you said, it's not all cake and ice cream tonight. Is it kind of good in a weird way to have something to say, hey, look, this ain't going to fly. Just have something to work on out of all this goodness that you've had the past 5 games.
Yeah, I think there is. I think there's a balance to it, right? Like winning's so hard, Scott. Like it's just hard to win, and so last thing you want to do is come out here and make it a negative. I mean, we had some guys play unbelievable ball games tonight, and so you got to make sure that you can congratulate that. I mean, Jalen Slauson's a +37. I mean he did his job. Conley Garrison's a +40. Alex Hunter's a +31. Marcus +27. Mike +15. So, I mean, you got to, hey, great job here. And it's more minutes for the bench, So maybe it was a deal where, hey, they're just not used to it. And so the amount of exhaustion when you're playing 2, 3, 4-minute clips and out versus now you're playing through a media and you're out there and you're coming back and now you're having to run the floor and get in a stance. It's those small things, and everything comes down to details, right? And that's hard sometimes to get young guys to understand that. And this game is unforgiving. Like it's an imperfect game, and you don't have time to worry about what just happened. Like you got to quickly get to the next play, and you're going to make mistakes, but it's resisting or it's taking responsibility. And I thought we were just resisting that a little bit tonight. Like something would happen, and our communication just wasn't clean. There wasn't a lot of hey, that's my fault. Like we'll get this fixed. It was more so, man, I felt like the spirit got down. That was the biggest thing. I mean, you can fix things schematically, but once the spirit gets down, that's when the mistakes start to compound, right? If it's just that possession or that 2 or 3 possessions, hey, we got a media, just move on, right? But when all of a sudden it's like the spirit starts to drop, and then their spirit starts to pick up over there, and 11 starts throwing all those threes in, then you put yourself in a situation where you're not quite playing as well. Fortunately, we had a good margin, and you do that in a game when it's a little tighter, then you can be in trouble. And so I don't want to lose my mind here. We won by 19 at home, and I'm more than thankful for that, and love the way our team's playing. I mean, just the movement, the 22 assists, the 8 turnovers, the deflections, the activity. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch right now, and but we got to continue to be hungry, and we got to stay humble.
I see a lot of high school, and one of the things I've learned over the years is a mark of a really good team is a team that when it's way ahead and its reserves come in, they still play the game, whereas there is an inclination to get yourself in the scorebook, to get in the points, to get some points. And there were times in the second half tonight where I thought that was incentive. I mean, I thought that the guys were trying to do it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, some of that, to be fair, is knowledge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we play a complicated way, but there's a little bit of a rhythm to how we play. And when you have 1, 2, or 3 of them out there with guys that know it, then you can cover a couple mistakes. When you put all 5 of them out there together, the lack of knowledge, can kind of speed it up a little bit. And there was a little bit of that, but there also were times where you're right, like we took some shots we shouldn't have taken. And, we got to be a little bit more patient and persistent to the paint, play off of 2 feet, move it, pop it. And
it wasn't natural. Like, for instance, Jalen Pugh took what I thought was a horrible shot, but then he looked like he was trying to sort of repent, and then he was passing every time. But neither one of those is natural. Both of those are reacting.
That's right. And you look at it, and again, that's why you put them out there with 12 minutes to go, right? I mean, we're game 24? And, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities to do that. So this will be film we can use in the offseason. This will be film as we're putting together their development, tapes in the offseason. This is stuff that will be very valuable. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Pegues did some great things out there tonight. I mean, he hit those 2 threes. I thought he attacked the paint. Like, he's going to be fine. I mean, Garrett Heen did some good things out there tonight. Joe Anderson did some great things out there. Tyrese had some good moments out there tonight. And all 4 of those guys are going to have opportunity. They're all freshmen, right? I mean, it's 2 true freshmen, 2 COVID freshmen, and they're playing on a really good team, and they're getting a lot of experience. And look, all 4 of those guys are going to have an opportunity to be really, really good players here. We just got to have a spirit of learning, right? We got to have a spirit of humility and figuring out ways that we can continue to improve there.
My understanding of X's and O's in basketball is very rudimentary, but I did notice something tonight. Citadel's a very hard basketball team to guard in transition because you have to stop the ball, but they've always got a motion moving off that in motion. Can you talk about how I thought your team executed the moving parts of that defense so well for maybe the first 15 minutes? Could you just speak to, the energy, the communication, I thought, was different than it was at the first of the season?
Yeah, we're definitely getting better defensively. I mean, you can see that in the metrics, but you can also see that to the visible eye. And we're just playing harder. And I think some of it is we're committing to the depth, which is allowing us to sustain the level of energy that we need to play the brand of basketball that we like to play for 40 minutes. And so, they're just bought into it. I mean, you're watching possessions and there's mistakes, but the effort, especially from our top 9 guys, I mean, it's really been fun to watch. And they're trusting that side of the ball. They're leaning on that side of the ball. They're willing to do the things, the multiple efforts that it takes to be really, really good on that side of the ball. And they're being rewarded for it. And, it's fierce defense and free offense. And that's what we want to be, right? We want to have a fierce defense that's aggressive, that's attacking, and that's flying around. But then we want to be able to pour that into a free offense that's built on connection and ball movement and cutting and spacing. Let the ball find the open guy and just play. And, it's been neat. And I wish we could have kept the rhythm a little bit tonight. But you know what? We'll get back out on the court tomorrow. We'll be fine. These guys will be ready to play on Saturday. And we got a pretty motivated group right now. We got a pretty inspired, focused group right now. And I know they'll enjoy the win tonight, and they'll be ready to get better tomorrow.
Coach, obviously you're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, and you've been on the streak and everything. But it seemed like tonight, coming out of the gate, Mike was really aggressive to the basket. And is it just thinking where you just want to take what you can get? I mean, because people are going to try to defend you from three, and then that kind of opens up those threes later on. Or is it just the way you came out tonight? It just seemed like you were really aggressive and just didn't want to.
Listen, the best threes you're always going to get is when you get 10-toe threes, stepping to the rim with the ball coming from the paint. And when we can get drives to kicks to shots or second drives, and you can really get a defense rotating, that's when offense becomes fun. And so, but the key to it all is you got to drive to score. We're not driving to pass. We're driving to score. And if we can beat a guy, then we'll beat a guy. Beat one, never beat two, right? So if we can beat one and score it, take it. And what's happening is because we're shooting the ball so well, they've been a little reluctant to bring that second guy in there. And so, if the second guy comes in, play on 2 feet, pivot, play behind you, play in front of you, play to the side of you. But you've got to understand what you don't want is guys being passive, right? You don't want guys that aren't trying to puncture the paint, right? You want to cut the paint, you want to post the paint, you want to try to drive the paint, but you got to be able to read the defense. And if they stay out on shooters, then hey, we work on finishing for 7 minutes every single day. And so go in there and finish. If they bring a help defender, where'd the help come from? Find it. And so that's one of the best things Mike does, right? Is get the ball downhill and finish at the rim. And I thought he did a great job with that.
Last question I have is just I want you to speak to the improvement I've seen, at least with Miles and Garrett in the past few games. I thought again he followed up a very good game, last time out with a solid performance tonight. Can you just speak to that?
Yeah, I think he's really grown. Garrett's had a great month, really. He came back from Christmas, and he's getting in the gym more. And, it's like I told my son the other day, he was, he's obviously really into what we're doing. And, he's asking me about certain guys. And I said, Mac, I'll teach you a little something here, okay? The guys that were in the gym all the time this summer, they're playing really well, okay? The guys that were in the gym a little bit this summer, some of them have been a little inconsistent. And it's fundamental, right? It's not rocket science. And so, Garrett's somebody that's got potential to be an all-conference player in this league, no doubt in my mind. Zero doubt, right? How much does he want to commit to it? And when he commits to it, right, good things happen. And so he's been in the gym a little bit more, right? He's been getting a few more workouts in, and Garrett's a good shooter. I mean, come on. Look at the stroke, right? It's a clean stroke. He just got to rep it. He's got to have confidence in it, right? He's got to continue to do what he's got to do in the weight room. He's got to continue to he's got to be hungry. But what Garrett has that's unique is Garrett has a level of confidence when things are going well that's infectious, and he can make other people feel good. And he knows how to he smiles and he has a good time. He's got a great spirit about him, and he's got a great personality to him that really rubs off on a lot of guys. And but then also with that, he can get a little self-critical. And so once he really commits to his habits to where he doesn't get down on himself, he can continue to play and lead and have that type of charisma out there. I mean, Garrett's somebody that you want out there, and he fits the system and how we play perfectly. And he's had a great month. He's been a big key. In fact, I was looking at some stats that show like just the 10 league games. Okay, first 6 versus last 4, and I was trying to look and see, all right, what are the outliers? What's really sticking out here? And one of them was in those first 6, he was shooting 45% from 2. In the last 4, he shot 74% from 2. Okay, so that's huge, right? Like he's finishing better around the basket, and that's confidence, that's work, that's getting in the gym, believing in yourself, and making sure you're taking great ones. But he's only going to get better from here. I got no doubt in my mind. I think it's great that he and Joe have had to both work through situations, because that usually, when you have to work through some hard, right, that usually propels you going forward, and it's going to be valuable for him.
My last question on Mike's dunk tonight. You look back at the bench, but then you told everybody to sit down because you're about to get warmed by the crystals. But you looked almost as if like Did y'all know he could do that? I mean, what was kind of running through your mind when you look back at the bench after that?
I mean, I think I had the same response that Mike had. I mean, Mike came over to the timeout and said, "Man, I didn't know if I could get it there." I said, "Yeah, I didn't either." But you know what? He did, and that's a credit to him. That's a credit to Matt Aldred, all right, who I think I talk about Matt all the time. I think he's just as much important in anything we do as anybody on our staff. And Matt's got those guys in great shape right now. I mean, they just the way he works with them and how their bodies change and transform, it's incredible. But that was a high-level play. I mean, I don't know. If Wesley can do his job, then we should have a top 10 play right here, huh? I'm kidding. Everybody knows I love Wesley. Everybody relax. We're trying to get a top 10 play. I mean, we've had a couple that we thought were pretty close this year, but hopefully we can get that on there. I couldn't imagine 9 better plays in the country tonight than that dunk right there. So quick thanks to the students. I thought the student turnout was tremendous, especially for a Wednesday night, and I guess that's the thought, that it's a little bit harder to get people here on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But, I thought they really showed out. I thought there was a lot of people out here early. And we had about 10 guys get here an hour before tip, and they actually came in the locker room with us, and they got to see some of the pregame stuff. So that was a lot of fun. This is their program, and we want our students to know that they're a huge part of this. We want them to feel a part of it. And so to see them come out the way they did tonight and to feel them and to hear them, I thought that was a great job and much appreciated.